Alright guys, thanks for listening. I'm just going to have a quick little spiel about the Fujifilm X-H1, the new release from Fuji. I don't know if it's available in stores yet, probably too early, but it's definitely been released on YouTube, etc. and promoted. It's being promoted as a sort of a quasi mirrorless video camera. Mostly their promotional material is all focused around video and the IBIS mechanism, the image stabilization of this new camera. So quite interesting. So I'm just going to have a quick spiel about what I think about it, what I'm expecting from it, and I'll sort of try and keep it short and sweet. So first of all, just go over some of the positive things that I've noticed. This is a direct comparison, of course, with the Fujifilm X-T2. Why that? Because Fujifilm X-T2 is the current flagship camera. It's obviously a photography-based flagship camera, and this one is sort of going to be video-focused flagship camera. They're going to be priced very similarly to each other. I think there's a couple of $100 difference between the two. But I'm sure that X-H1 will come down in price later on once it's become more popular and mainstream. Okay, so let's go over some of the main features of the X-H1. So its improvements over the X-T2, it's got IBIS. Okay, so IBIS is in-body image stabilization, and Fujifilm are really promoting this as being the big feature of this camera. So yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, it's a fantastic thing, really. I mean, honestly, you want to get sharp shots with this sort of camera. The Fuji is renowned for being sharp. You know, it's got no AA filter. It's got great lenses that are tack sharp. Just about all the lenses in the range of the Fujifilm cameras are, super sharp. And lenses like the 16 to 55 2.8, which I've got, they're going to be, they're just going to come alive with this IBIS, I believe. It's exactly what these lenses needed. It's going to allow you to get really sharp shots, with a lower ISO than you've previously used. And, that can only be a good thing. Okay, so so IBIS is a fantastic thing with this camera. Okay. The other great thing about this camera is the grip. Okay, the grip is going to be much more chunky, something substantial to hold on to. Sort of, I guess, how would you compare it? I'd say it's similar to like an Olympus EM1 sort of camera, or any sort of mid-range sort of to high-end DSLR at the moment. They've all got quite chunky grips that you can grab and hold, and the camera is not going to slide out of your hand at any time. Just gives you that sort of security when you're using the camera, which I really, really like and want desperately. I hate these gripless, flat-faced cameras that are totally retro styled and totally lost out on ergonomics. Okay, so they're probably two of the biggest features of the camera. Oh, and also one thing that may be a feature or some people might see as a negative is that they've taken off the exposure compensation dial. Now, the exposure compensation dial is at the top left of the plate as you're looking at the camera, so right where your thumb could hit it. And with the X-T2, my thumb is always knocking that bloody exposure compensation dial, and I'm changing it by accident. And sometimes sometimes I do want to change it, but then I forget about it, and then I'm looking through the viewfinder and the picture is overexposed or underexposed, and I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? Is there something wrong? I don't like the exposure compensation dial, but I do know a lot of people do love it. They think it's a fantastic thing to have there. This great big knob that you just click and clack and off you go. You change your exposure there direct. I think it's much more sensible to have it on one of the command dials than on that great big thumb thing, especially when it doesn't lock. You can't lock it. If it had a lock on it, it'd probably be much better for me, just because I don't know why I knock that bloody dial, but I do. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. But yeah, I do have a problem with knocking that exposure compensation dial, and I don't like to. Okay, now so in place of that dial, they're having a little LCD screen on the top plate, which is going to display, you know, basic settings, how many exposures are left, how much time you've got left to record a movie, you know, shutter speed, aperture, I think the film simulation mode, stuff like that. Just some basic settings on the top dial that you can see at glance, which is nice. I think it's a good thing to have there, and it looks like a nice LCD, not like an old you know, Game Boy sort of style LCD screen that we usually get on DSLRs. This looks like a proper dot matrix sort of proper screen that can display all sorts of things nicely. So anyway, that's about it for the major changes on the camera. So for all that, you're going to pay, you know, a few $100 extra on top of your X-T2, which is probably worth it just for the IBIS, honestly. IBIS and using Fujifilm's stellar prime lenses is going to be, that's going to be something, a great source of joy for many people, including me. But anyway, let me get back. Okay, so what I think that this camera should have had, that it's sort of missing out on. Okay, so it's missing out on an improvement in the sensor. They haven't seemed to have changed the sensor, hanging on to that old 24 megapixel sensor, which is a great sensor with no AA filter and all that, but it's still the old sensor, and it would have been nice to have seen some sort of step up. But anyway, I guess we can't have everything. What else do I think? The headphone jack. I think a mirrorless camera that's centered towards videography should have a headphone jack. Not that I'm big on doing video work with my mirrorless cameras, but I do think if they're going to promote this as being like a quasi video camera, then yes, you should definitely have a headphone jack in the camera without buying an accessory such as the grip, which has it on it. Okay, what else? Okay, so yeah, that's basically the main changes of this camera, which is pretty, you know, it's pretty similar. You're not going to see improvements, I think, in image quality or noise or anything like that. What you're getting here is some physical upgrades. You know, you're getting the grip, you're getting the IBIS, you're getting a bigger camera overall. It is a bigger camera, slightly bigger, which some people may not like and some people will like. It's hard to say until you get it in your hands, isn't it? But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it's going to be a good thing. It's got, I'm pretty sure it's running the same battery that they've used in all their other cameras, which I am happy about if that's the case, because, you know, I've already got quite a few of these batteries and I don't want to have to go out and buy more of a different type of battery with a different charger and all that stuff. You know, I want to be able to use my Fujifilm cameras. You know, I've got a X-E2S, I've got a X-T2, and, you know, if I get this, I'll have a third X-H1, and it's pretty cool, I think, that I can just charge and use the same battery for all of them. Okay, so anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I think it's a good step in the right direction. I think the IBIS is going to be such a great thing for Fujifilm, and anybody who says IBIS is not a good thing, I just don't get it. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, looking forward to seeing this camera, using it, hopefully soon. And yeah, that's just my thoughts on this camera. And I'll catch you later. Bye.